Yo, what is good, my anime faithful? What is good, yo? Mob Psycho, my God, it truly went there and is really making me feel like I don't know what could possibly happen for these characters, which I love the aspect of that in animes in general, but when it comes down to Reagan and it comes down to my boy Mob, it's hard to see these guys fighting right now, I'm going to be honest. And to hear them both acting as if they don't need each other and stuff, I have definitely gone through a friendship like this. And um, at the end of the day, we really didn't need each other. We really didn't really, care to keep in touch and stuff like that. So if that is where this is going, which I kind of doubt because Reagan is not the I don't know. He just doesn't seem like he's going to make it that much further all the time if he continues to mess with all of these, you know, spirits and stuff like that. So, with all that being said, though, I truly did appreciate this episode, though. It felt like there's some things that Reagan says, and there's some things that Mob doesn't even react to that once seeing it now, it makes a lot of sense why he wasn't reacting to it because he really did look up to his master as like a role model. He really does look up to him as someone that he can, uh, talk to and go to because he practically was the only one that Mob had at a time. So to all of a sudden have him go through the most situations we've seen where it actually causes him some trouble and actually causes him some time to collect himself and think on what he's doing instead of just doing it. More and more of those situations have popped up through this season more than it did in the first season, just because the first season showed us how much Mob is secluded, how much he doesn't really care to show off anything or do anything. And now to pick up from all of that, to see him today and hearing everything Reagan's saying and taking it to heart and actually really not appreciating him talk about people that he's around, and not to mention talk about him, giving him being Mob the idea to pretty much distance himself from Reagan so he can see just what possibly he can do with his life. And that's what I've been talking about throughout this whole season. This is really the true um, life of Mob. This is the true thought process and feelings that mobs are actually going through. And I think that aspect of the show was missing in the first season because of the power, because of all the different crazy stuff that they were introducing into the show. They didn't really have enough time to flesh out what this character was actually thinking, why he was doing it. I mean, they tried to, but at the same time, he was hiding his emotions so he didn't go to 100% and start destroying stuff whenever he got to whatever his 100th emotion, his 100% time was. So all of this stuff being built up and Reagan kind of being a helper in him understanding who he is, I don't think he would ever disrespect him in the sense of like, you aren't anything and you never wear anything type of deal. But I feel like he could do a lot more maybe by himself. But at the same time, it's like Reagan said, Dimple is going to be around a normal middle school student more than he would usually be unless Mob starts to get into stuff by himself. I mean, the one thing that's kind of his saving grace, or Dimple's saving grace in this case, is that he's a part of the telepathy club that is literally looking for, other strong people. So not only can Dimple find one of them and maybe possess them and take them over and, separate himself from Mom sometime soon, but at the same time, we have this weird feeling of, or this weird eerie sense that Reagan doing this well and stuff could just be, um, it could be cool now, but all of a sudden, once you get towards, the end and you're really about to, he's on TV, he's really big, And when you're as big as that and you're on the front screen and people can see you and people know you from different things, now whenever you do something and it doesn't come out the way they want it, it puts you in a position to then be hated quicker than you are liked. And I think Mob might actually experience this by watching Reagan on this national TV thing and maybe understand that if he does, do wrong, or if something blows up in his face and just ends up messing up for him, Mob will know that he might be as alone as Mob was back in the day when Reagan actually took him in. So it's a very interesting concept that I didn't expect this show to really care to take a stab at, but it's definitely worth it in my opinion, because both of these characters are practically like their own showrunners. Like Reagan's hilarious. Mob had no real like emotions, so he was the funny. He is the guy who brings the jokes and laughter to the show. So if you take him out, you got a character that doesn't know much about himself or doesn't even know how he's going to become anything bigger. And then Dimpo was more just like the supernatural part of the show, where he's always a spirit that's just following us around, reminding us that that's a thing, and that he has his own agenda to take over Mob. But what other spirits are out there that have crazier agendas, or even darker ones at that? So that's the thing that this show is continuously minding us of. Not to mention Mob's younger brother is someone that could truly become like a threat, or not a threat to Mob, but he could become a threat to the other characters that threaten Mob that have powers, and he shows up too to help. There's a lot going on with this show, and that's why I appreciate it so much. But the main fact that we're getting this season and One Punch Man season pretty soon, everybody's going to compare the two, but when you really look at it, I feel like One Punch Man, if they don't go the route that they're going with Mob, I feel like Mob will be the true story of this author creating an actual character whose personality isn't completely trash anymore from start to finish, compared to Saitama, who probably will keep his same type of mental state and stuff, or like his same energy and all that, because the show kind of calls for it. So I feel like Mob is this character that we could potentially see grow up, and Saitama's more of a character that we could see show up more at a quicker time and save people and save places that then they don't get much collateral damage, compared to someone like Mob, who's going to be like maybe an outstanding character to talk to and all this stuff. He might have a really great personality and stuff, plus the powers. So I'm not sure. That's just my idea of where these two characters seemingly don't compare to each other anymore. Like Mob is going and getting a personality, while Saitama is still just looking for a powerful fight, which it's not kind of fair to compare them right now because there isn't no second season. But if you look at the second season, and I want to say like a good amount of manga chapters, you can see that if they do go personality route with Saitama, that's anime exclusive, because they did not do that in the manga. So with that all being said, guys, thank you so much for your patience. I dropped Slime as quickly as possible because I know that's what we all wanted to talk about. But with these shows, I definitely like them, just not nearly as much as Slime, but I still very, very much appreciate all the support that they get, and not to mention definitely say you guys should check it out. These shows are still worth giving a watch, and if you don't like to have the breaks and stuff, just give it a wait and let all these episodes stack up, because you will definitely not regret it. Only thing you will regret is not actually watching the shows as a whole, so make sure you just check them out. With that being said, my anime people, I will talk to you guys in the next one. Tuesday, we should have at least Black Clover, and if we don't have Black Clover and something else, I'll try to get something else out to you guys. If not, just Black Clover. So with all that being said, guys, thank you so much. Have a good day, night, evening, whatever the case it is when you're watching this. I am the Anime J, and I will talk to you in the next one. Alright, peace.